correctly. It's hard when you get old.
Everything's hard when you get old. Well, not everything.
Ah, that's right. Nice. All right, guys, I'm very excited. I have not seen my friend Jodi McLean in person in so long.
How long has it been?
I don't know. I
There
feel like
I
it's been 1,000 years.
am. I'm trying
So
to
we're
share
gonna
this. I'm not
both
trying
look
to
at
be
our
rude.
phones really quick so that I can share this to my page too.
Share.
And I know that we are live because I can see you.
How do I do?
But I've been looking
Right
forward to
post.
this. I have been so looking forward to this.
Well, and it takes a pandemic for us to make it happen.
Is that just the worst? But you know what? I didn't know how to do remote. I didn't know how to do remote Zoom before.
I know. Look at us up being all, Gen X techies all of a sudden.
Yeah, Gen X. I always joke with my kids. I think I'm the greatest generation ever born. They're like, "You're not that old, Dad." I'm a boomer.
Wait, can I swear?
Yes,
I'm going to. Okay, good.
All right, so you have a great topic. You have a great personality, great energy. But people want to know the beginning. So tell us a little bit about you, Jodi, where you're from, and then kind of how you got here.
Okay, well, I got here from my mama. Born and raised in Michigan. Spent first 18 years of my life there. Went to University of Michigan, and then realized I didn't have to live in Michigan anymore. So rather than waiting to retire, I'd always been a displaced beach girl. That's trademark pending. And I never liked the winter, whatever, snow came. I was living for the spring and summer, and then fall came and you get all melancholy. Great football, but winter's coming, sucks. So my sister and I packed up and moved down here in the 1900s, 1997, and been here ever since. The funny thing is I moved down with, I think, $125 in my pocket back then. And that's just me, I jump. And I thought I'll have a bartending job the first day I get there. And then the night we arrived, my sister and I went on a casino boat. I'm like, I'll take $50 and I'll just, if I lose that, fine. Wasn't 20 minutes into this cruise, all $125 gone. So I had to sit on this boat. Oh my God. Plus it was the most boring boat ride ever because I had no money and nothing to do. So that's Jodi's origin story.
You know what? I always think of you as a beach girl. So it's so funny. I forget that you're not from here because you are a beach girl. Right. You're a beach volleyball girl. You're a beach. I mean, everything is beach on your social media. You really love and live truly and honestly that beach life.
Yep. Yeah. Born and raised. Again, we had a family cabin on Lake Huron in Michigan. And those 2 months were glorious when we got to go to the beach. So I just felt like this is where I always wanted to be. And I earned it. So now here I am.
So you got here. Did you get a waitressing job, serving
job?
Yeah.
Just like I said, the next day I was in Bleacher Sports Bar in St. Pete's and made some of my best lifelong friends there.
That's awesome. All right, but what did you?
It's funny because I wrote about this in always having a good fallback skill, because it's something that you can always just jump into. And that was my thing, bartending, waitressing. And who knew, along comes a pandemic and it just wipes that out.
I never saw that coming. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. You're 100% right. That it was always everybody's, well, I was a server once, I can go back to being a server. Yeah, right now
easy money right there. And I'll tell you, I loved it. I loved bartending. That was my favorite. Yep. Look forward to it.
So tell me how you obviously progressed, because we met under I did not meet you at a restaurant, although I've met a lot of my really good friends at restaurants and bars. Right. But we met someplace different. So what was your migration? What happened? What happened after your server job? You obviously wanted to do something different.
Sure. My secondary fallback skill was broadcast. So I went to after University of Michigan, I came out with a communications degree, which is basically a piece of paper and a lot of debt and no transferable skills. So I ended up going back and getting a technical skill through Specs Howard Broadcast School. And I learned how to legitimately cut and splice tape before the digital world came about. And then no shit, I graduated and they were rolling in the new equipment during our graduation ceremony. We're all like, what are those big things? We're like, digital. What the hell was digital? So that particular skill kind of went bye-bye, but it never stopped me. I learned how to interact with the camera and be natural and all that sort of thing. So that was a good skill. Came down here and TV was either news or Home Shopping Network. So I applied 3 times to get into Home Shopping Network and moved my way up there over the course of 11 years, I guess, and ended up being a TV producer, a live retail
I didn't know that.
TV producer. Yeah, that was my whole history. And I loved it.
Cool. You didn't want to be in front of the camera?
No, I swear too much. And my face is way too animated for that. So no.
They would know what you're really thinking.
Right. I like to be the puppeteer, not the puppet.
That must have been cool though. That seems like a fun little energetic place to work.
It was. And then, at the time I was there, the employees really ran that place. And then Mindy Grossman at the time came in and she whipped that ship in shape. And in the meanwhile, brought in her people and they did a lot of downsizing. I got swept up in some of that and made me very bitter for a long time. And actually that was a result of my first book, Intrapreneur. Just kind of going through that and realizing that I had just as much to do with my being let go as the company. So that was a rite of passage. And I think it changed me for the better.
I want to talk about your book, but I want to get to the part where we met, and then I'm going to go back to Intrapreneurs. So we met because of an event that you were doing here.
Yes. So we definitely met at Citrus Club because I vividly remember. Are you sitting in your corner? Are you still in that corner? Do you still own that little corner?
I'm in that corner where I belong when it's open.
Every time we went to the Citrus Club, well, we were from Tampa, me and my good friend Topher Morrison. We were running a leadership development program called Key Person of Influence. And we were doing pretty well here in Tampa and we wanted to expand to Orlando and picked up and went over there and had this big event. And since we were also members of the Center Club here, we were, I guess they had some sort of reciprocity thing with the Citrus Club. So we went there and then just you and I were magnetized. I saw you in the corner. I'm like, who's that guy with his really nice outfit and his pretty, cufflinks that matches his collar. I'm like, I want to know him. Plus you always had wine. So that was good.
Absolutely. We drank a lot of wine together, didn't we?
We did. Not nearly enough. So, that's where we met. And then Topher and I launched the program and you were so helpful just getting us acclimated to the Orlando business market and all that. So thank you.
What was key? Key
person of influence?
Key persons of influence.
Key person of influence. That was based on the premise that people still want to do business with people rather than a brand or a company. They want to go to somebody who's knowledgeable in the industry, and they don't mind paying a premium to those that they consider the best of the best. Right. So developing that leader to lead the company and guide the vision and the branding and all that stuff, but also be out there in front. Talking industry insights and being that thought leader that is a Pied Piper. It brings the leads to the company rather than going out and try to hustle and sell people. So that was what
cool
Key Person
people on there.
Yeah, we did. We only worked with cool people.
There it is. I walked right into that one. All right, but true. You've eventually moved on. I can't imagine where you're working now.
Oh, you don't even know.
No, I definitely know. That's why I said it.
Is this too much?
Never too much, Jodi. Never too much. So talk about Symphony.
Symphony was a natural segue for me. So Topher decided he wanted to get into the world of politics, and that was not something I was interested in. So we parted ways professionally, but we're still just the best of friends. And the CEO of the Symphony agency was also a really good friend of mine. She went through the Key Person of Influence program and liked it so much that she put her husband, who's our chief marketing officer, through. And then our chief technical officer, chief CTO, they just changed his name. Chief technical officer was also one of our mentors. You met Chris with the long hair, the long silver hair. Yeah, so he was at the program. So, and Chris and I have been really good friends for a long time. So it kind of just was natural for me to come on board with Symphony. And Lauren, our CEO, is like, I've been wanting to recruit you. I didn't think you would leave Topher. I'm like, you're right, I wouldn't have. So it took us kind of, breaking that professional chauffeur-ness that we had for me to come on board with Symphony, but it made sense and I love it.
What is Symphony?
Symphony is segueing, actually. We've been a digital marketing agency since 2009 and really led the pack back then. There were digital marketing web developers on every corner like there are now. So through the course of the last 10 years, we've really learned to work with healthcare providers, specialty healthcare providers, not your general practitioner, not your big hospitals, but in between. So if you're diagnosed with something unusual, you need a heart surgery or skin cancer removed, something like that, you're looking for that specialty provider. And we have a lot of them already on our client list, and we have a really deep understanding of healthcare through our leadership and all that. So it was natural for us to just kind of niche there. But more than marketing, we're concentrating on the whole patient journey from the minute, I just put myself always in this. If I'm diagnosed with something, the first thing I do is get online, right? You want to find the right provider. And then you also want to understand what they bring to the table. You want to make sure that they're an influencer and they know what the hell they're talking about, right? So they have to have that really good online presence. But also when you expect to walk into a practice to see it one way, that you actually experience that. You know, you don't walk into someplace that has wood paneling and a clipboard with 15 things. You got to, you know, if you got your act together online, you better have it together offline. So it's matching that whole thing and having technology incorporated so it's easy for the patient. I can't believe I still walk into doctors' offices and they give me a pen and a clipboard. That's so stupid, you know? So,
So you work with the physicians. Your job is to.
well, more than anything, yeah, we work with the leadership team. Hopefully we're not working with the physician. They should be concentrating on doing what they do. You know, you want to work with the leadership team that's focused on growth, that's focused on organization and efficacy and messaging and marketing and all of that.
How have you managed? I really want to talk about your book, but I want to ask, tell me about how you've managed in the pandemic and the lockdown. How are you still keeping in contact with or continuing the momentum of your business?
Well, and that's been weird. And we're lucky in the respect that we work with healthcare providers, and that's not going anywhere. As long as there's humans, there's going to be healthcare. And we've naturally started working with some home service companies. You learn to pivot and you learn to figure out where the need is. There's always a need, you know, in any economy. There's something that's flourishing and there's something that's dying. And hopefully there's not too many dying, but hopefully we rebound from there. But like, you know, there are certain companies, probably people you know, that are just drowning in opportunity right now. And it wasn't something they could prepare for. It was just like, you know, here's all of this demand. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to even provide the service right now. So it's finding those opportunities, being like, we got it. We can help you with the messaging. We can help you with your marketing piece and just putting some stuff in play, because our companies had to do that too. You know, we've had to figure out a lot of things in the business loans and what's the right messaging for us. So it's natural for us to create those products for our clients. So we've had to create for ourselves. So it's just, again, recognizing the need.
You talked about messaging, and that's one of the things I put as the title. So clear messaging. I mean, I know what my definition is, but I'd love for you to tell me why that's important. Why you think clear messaging, especially now, is just so critical that you get your message clear.
If you would have asked me this 5 weeks ago, I would have had a completely different answer for you. You know, clear messaging to me in the other world we lived in 5 weeks ago was being able to articulate what it is that you do and who specifically you do it for, you know, rather than I will sell anybody who wants a house, you know, or I work with anybody who wants a house. Well, how about that homeless guy on the corner? He wants a house, you know? So being so clear about who you work with and what it is that you do. And right now messaging has shifted and we're still all finding our way. And as much as I'd like to think that I'm a good pitch person, you know, I'm the person that people come to, I'm struggling. And I've had to get on things like this with like my guys at Sandler Sales. I'm like, I just need to hear the basics again, because I'm getting what I call COVID brain, where you just can't think, you know, you're trying to complete a sentence. I'm like, what's that word? Revenue, you know, just something so simple. But I think things are so confusing and changing so rapidly right now that messaging is weird. And I've been really watching
messaging. So that people don't think it's the, you know, your text message or your
and any sort of comms. So anything that comes out of your mouth or comes out of your fingers, I suppose, is messaging. And to do it right now is not an easy thing. You have to be empathetic. You have to be, and I don't know that active outreach for lead generation is even appropriate right now. We talked about that with our Sandler salespeople. It's just not, you know, it's good to be there and connect with your people. Like, look at you and me. We haven't really talked in a year or so.
Right.
And now here's all this opportunity. We have time, we have tools. I forgot, what was the question? What the hell was I talking about? Messaging. So, yeah. So I think messaging right now, whether it's your outreach or just reconnecting with somebody that you care about, and being just thoughtful about what you're saying and how you're saying it.
I agree.
That answer your question? Oh.
Yes, I think it's so important. Like one thing you just mentioned, one of the things that we're doing, because I do a lot of shows for the home team of Freedom Mortgage, which is that's my business. I work for them.
You must be killing it right now.
Amazing. And their messaging though, they were very clear early on. We're not going to take any sales approach when you do any interviews that are specific to them, because we want the message to be, we're here we want to provide you information. We're not trying to sell you something.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people don't know how to make that transition from being salesy to actually communicating with a human being on a level where you have to get past, well, what can you do for me? Well, here's what I can do for you.
Right.
The human part of it was missing. And I think a lot of people are struggling with that.
Well, and good. You know, I'm glad we're struggling with that because we've needed a reframe for a long time. And we've needed to reconnect with our empathy. So it's interesting. And it's funny because you say that and I think about mortgages and like, oh my God, there's so much opportunity right now. I'm looking into that. I'm looking into everything that can save me a few dollars. So I don't mind if somebody reaches out saying, the mortgage, what's interest rates today? What, like 2.8 or something stupid? People still need to know that stuff.
Agreed.
So you can't be too, just standing back and not being approachy at all, because there are so many opportunities out there and people want to know about them.
They do. They want to be educated, but they want to be educated on their terms.
Sure.
And that's where your messaging is so critical, because you really have to be intuitive enough to kind of understand where that's at. And it's not easy, like you were saying. So people will message me after shows and go, wow, you made it so easy. Well, it's really not. I mean, I'm learning every single day how to maneuver through.
We're learning by the hour right now.
I mean, it's every day it's something new that I'm learning about or learning to do. And so it's just a process. People are, I think, way too, well, I'm not doing the same thing as Ted, or I'm doing the same thing as Jodi, so I'm behind. That's not necessarily true. I mean, I'm learning too. You could learn in your way. I'm just learning in my way. But the messaging, I think, is so important. I have people that reach out to me that are non-essential kind of stuff outside of the financial world, that it's still just so salesy. And I've gotten to the point, maybe it's because I'm old and crotchety, that I have decided.
I'm the same age.
No, I've decided to just go, you know what, that was way too salesy. I think you ought to rethink and come back. I've had some people tell me a few choice words, but most people are very happy to know that's how they're coming across.
Right.
So, all right, let's talk about Intrapreneurs. That's your book.
Yes.
And you mentioned it a little bit earlier when you got downsized and you wrote this book. So what is an entrepreneur? I don't even know.
Sure. An Intrapreneur is an employee inside of a company that is vital. The Intrapreneur is the last one on the chopping block when downsizing, it's time to downsize. They're just considered so critical to the leadership team that they would never go anywhere. And this came about working with key person of influence. Was they want you to write a book, and an Intrapreneur isn't a word that I came up with. That's been around for a while, but I did help to define that by writing the book and creating a process behind it. When I was working for Home Shopping Network, I felt a little entitled. Well, I think I felt a lot entitled. I worked hard, I didn't call off and all that sort of thing. I checked all those boxes, but I really wasn't bringing anything new to my position or to the company. I wasn't reaching out, across the silos and things like that. I was just doing what they told me to do and getting it done on time and collecting a paycheck. I'm thinking I was doing a great job. I intended to retire there and get the whole gold watch and all that kind of stuff. All the millennials are like, "What's a gold watch? What's
no idea?"
Right? But I was I was a very loyal, dedicated, on time, got stuff done employee, but I wasn't doing anything that my counterpart next to me wasn't doing. So when it came to downsizing, I was pissed. I thought, what more could I have done? And then through working with entrepreneurs and business owners and seeing how they think, and every damn day they're out there hustling. You can't take any paycheck for granted. And just seeing that, I reframed the way I thought about my employee role. It's like, I need to, whatever company is paying me, I need to hustle, and I need to bring new innovations, and I need to earn that paycheck every day and make them happy every day. So it's just reframing to think about approaching my job or my employee role as my own business. And it really,
I love that. I think that people get caught up in the fact that they're working for the man. Millennials won't understand what that is either, but you're working for someone else. So why am I doing any more than my 9 to 5? And I think I'm so glad that you brought this up. I think it is such a giant mistake. And I guarantee you they're feeling it right now.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, what people ask me all the time, Freedom has never once said to me, all right, Ted, you can't have meetings with real estate agents, so you need to do 10 shows a day. That's me thinking like an entrepreneur. I'm that person. I'm
You
the
are an
employee.
entrepreneur, 100%.
Well, I owned a business, so I have a little bit of a, you know, advantage over being an employee my whole life. But as a new employee, it's a crazy world, and I just want to bring value. It's
Right.
nothing they're asking me for. I'm not looking for accolades. I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but I'm thinking of it as my own business, and I wish more people would take that approach.
Right.
I think a lot of people are suffering, like I said, because they did not take that approach. So if it's Jane or Joe, and Jane took that approach and Joe didn't, I guarantee you Jane's probably still there.
Yeah. Right. Well,
there's
and
probably
it's
a
not, you
lot.
don't know what you don't know. And when I was working at Home Shopping Network, I didn't know. You know, I did what they told me to do, and that felt okay. So it was going through that just really bitter time of my life, and being so angry at whoever fired me, and not assuming my, like, what could I have done differently? And then
Right.
having the luxury of working with the people at Key Person of Influence, because all we did is work with high achieving business owners. They're not startups. These were people who had achieved a level of success but wanted to scale up rapidly and just kind of hit that plateau. And being able to work directly with them and catch some of their enthusiasm, just their hustle. You know, you got to get up and hustle every day if you're building a business, and you got employees to take care of. It's just a nonstop grind. And seeing that, I'm like, oh, I probably could have done a lot more in my employee role. I probably could have. So yeah, it was the right path.
What can people do? What give some people some based from your book or from whatever you've learned since, what can people who are watching or employees go, wow, I love what she's saying, I'm hearing her. What are some steps they can take?
I have a list of steps inside the book, and maybe I can just share that with you and you can put it out there. More than anything, you're creating content and you're becoming a face of the company. When, you know, Topher was the business owner, and I was just very much as much of a face for the company as he was, and I was an employee, but I got my face out there. You know, I do things like this with you. I wrote the book. I was very active on LinkedIn and social media. So when people thought of that company, they thought of me, or they thought of Topher, but I was right up in there too. So you've got to be an advocate for the company that pays you, and you've got to love that damn company, and you got to hustle for it every day, and you got to become a face for that company. Whether that's through just content creation, writing. I would say do things for people, your audience, that they can read, listen to, do. What's the other one? Read, watch, listen to, or do. So write a lot of content, write blogs, do opinion pieces, do videos. That's something they can watch, listen to, podcasting, just different ways of thinking about things you can put out there. When you say do, there's quizzes you can do, there's white papers or infographics, things like that. So you got to study the industry, see what other people are doing, and start doing it too.
I honestly believe, I know I've shared this, I think I've shared this before. I thought the company was yours. When we met, I really thought, all right, I don't understand where Topher comes in, but Jodi runs that thing. But that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, you want to be the brand ambassador. When I think of when I think of Symphony, I'm going to think of you. When I think of Freedom, I want people to think of me so I can help my loan officers, because that's my role.
Yep.
But you want to be that person. I love people asking me, so how long have you owned your mortgage company?
I assumed you owned it too. This is the first time hearing that you're working for them. So.
And that's because that's an intrapreneur. That's what we do. You think differently. It also helps your business. I think people take the negative with that. They think, well, I'm doing all this work and it's not going to do anything for me. And it's the complete opposite, guys.
Opposite.
It is the complete
opposite. That you wouldn't be the first to be let go. You know, your business owners consider you so vital and so critical that you're the last to go. But on top of that, you get recruited. You know, there are other people seeing you out there hustling and seeing how passionate you are about your role, and they want that too. So that's a nice place to be. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
just like I
great
said. Once
place.
Topher and I were not doing business together, Lauren and Chris called me immediately. They were that same day. They're like, we've waited for this moment. Like, how cool is that? I didn't even have to update my resume, which is always updated, by the way. So
Love it. All right, I have to ask you, is see how fast it goes. I have to ask you, what are you doing aside from business? Nothing to do with business. What are you doing personally to stay positive, to stay creative?
oh wow. I'm so adaptable. I'm trying to think that, it just kind of comes naturally for me to stay motivated. I don't know. I get out and walk and I'm trying to stay active, but I'll tell you what, it pisses me off. 2 weeks ago, I broke my pinky toe. So as soon as this pandemic hit, I thought, okay, great. I'm going to spend a whole summer going to the gym and going to the beach. 2 days later, no gym. And then like 3 days later, no beach. Like there goes my whole plan B for the summer. And then I go around the corner and clip my pinky toe, so I can't even power walk. So that's kind of pissing me off a little. But I'm trying super hard not to watch the news because at this point I'm just staying in. Like I don't need to know all the new updates. I got it. I'm staying home. And trying to create a lot of content. I'm trying not to binge watch things. It's more about how am I going to pivot? What are we going to do coming out on the other side? What's some good messaging I can share with my clients? The more you can create rather than to consume, that'll keep you ahead of the pack.
I love that. The more you can create rather than consume. Yes. I think people are, there's that meme that goes around that I keep joking about that says, I finished Netflix. Well, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who have. So now that you've finished Netflix, how about doing some creation rather than consuming?
Yes. I'm happy to say I watched 20 minutes of Tiger King just so I could talk pop culture, and that's it.
That's a train wreck. That is insane. A train wreck.
Florida living.
All right, you've been a joy having on. I've missed you. You
I know,
are
I miss you so much.
I love you. I know. So Jodi McLean. So how can they reach you if they want to know more about what you're doing? Want to get your book?
Yeah, LinkedIn is best for me. Of course, I'm on Facebook. I think it's Jodi McLean 1. Whoever Jodi McLean 0 is. Damn you. And then yeah, probably LinkedIn's best. JODI MCLEAN. Connect with me. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Lots of great nuggets out of there. I like it. I appreciate it. All right, honey. Love you. Good. Great to see you. Mwah. Thank you so much. Jodi McLean, everybody. All right. We'll see you soon.
Okay, babe. Bye.
Mwah. Bye, honey. Well, I think we're going to go by. There we go. We're gone.